Hi everyone and welcome back to the Flowbonacci channel. I'm Fabio and today fasten your seatbelt because we're going for the non-native Transdulum around. Here we go. In the previous tutorial we've seen the native Transdulum around. Today we're going for the non-native, which means I'm going to use my non-native hand to do the translation pendulum, and here the same non-native, this one. And you will see it is way more complex. With just changing one word, one parameter, it is another type of challenge. The trick is named the non-native Transdulum around. Non-native translation pendulum, changing for my non-native and translation pendulum. And do it again. I like to deliver a little song, and the song will be exactly the same than the previous tutorial. Native or non-native, I was not changing the song, just a little bit. But we go for the non-native translation pendulum swap. Translation pendulum swap ends. Translation pendulum swap. Translation pendulum swap. Easy. But before going further in the description of the move which are composing this sequence, this trick, non-native Transdulum around, I I'm seriously advising you to warm up your shoulders, because this one is implying that we're going to go behind our back to grab things, to exchanging things here. We're going to swap here. So we will have to be flexible enough to go there. 2 exercises, stretching exercises, I advise you to do before doing this trick, and in general. First one is this one, to stretch all this part. This, and breathe. This, classic. And the second one is this one. And stretch all this lateral part. And of course, both sides. Here, stretch, breathe. And you will feel that you will be more comfortable going here on your back. And this was for the warm-up. Now, let's dive in. This trick is going to require precision, which means I don't have a lot of distant surface to keep my dragon staff rolling while turning around on my back. So I will have to be very precise in my moves and optimize every centimeters of my fingers to keep my dragon staff rolling and in the balance I want during and after the pendulum. We will start as usual without rolling to understand the move. And it is a very important phase. I took time to practice this move really without rolling to understand what was going on. And I found things practicing without rolling that I might not have found if I would have practiced directly with a rolling dragon staff. Here, I'm going to take my time. So without rolling, non-native end, off center, really off center. Translation, pendulum. Swap. Translation, pendulum. Swap. Practice this and focus on the two pendulums, because as you might have noticed, when I'm doing my pendulum, I'm able to do a complete pendulum and hold it before swapping. And here, same. And we will use also this phase, this entire pendulum, with the rolling technique. It is very important to be comfortable here. The two pendulums are crucial, especially the one behind the back, which is more challenging. Let's decompose this one. Translation, pendulum. Translation, pendulum. Translation, pendulum. During the pendulum, I don't want to stay there. I want to finish my pendulum here, which means I'm going to move my body, my upper body and my arm during the pendulum to land here. So you can isolate this pendulum and working on it slowly. Just after my translation, I'm going to go to be ready to swap here. Really off center. If you're here and you trigger your pendulum, you're going to end up holding your dragon staff here. And you're not going to be off center. If we do a pendulum, we want to stay in this part, the off center part. So be sure before triggering your pendulum, you're really way off center. And the secret here is this one, this little one, the sum. If you look carefully my sum, I will finish my pendulum behind my back with my sum pointing at my back. And it will be very useful, and I want this because I will use this holding possibility, this one. So be sure that when you finish your pendulum behind the back, you have this one pointing. Here I'm holding it. If I don't hold it, ooh, funky. Very important. This one is going to be our friend. Very important friend. For the pendulum, which is happening in front of me, behind my back, I swap. Translation, I'm in this position, and I will finish like this. There will be two things happening in this pendulum. So I just swapped, translation, I'm still off center, this way I can trigger the pendulum. For the moment I'm holding the pendulum in this weird position. palm facing the sky, some on my left, torsion of my arm. And there are two things that will happen. First, a pendulum. My dragon staff will do a pendulum, 180 degrees in a vertical plane. My dragon staff will do this. And at the same time, my hand will roll to finish palm facing the floor. Can seem tricky, it's not really. The important is, like in every pendulum, let the gravity do the job. Just let go. Practice just this one. And then I'm swapping again. If I do the complete sequence without rolling, but still decomposing my moves, it will go like this. And now it's time to repeat this move, this sequence, to make each moves more and more fluid and chained. I'm going to try to minimize the stop and make each moves chaining with the following one. Still not rolling. And here I'm going to search sensations, how my body will have to move for the swaps. My upper body will move from this direction to this one. So I will have to integrate this upper body rotation in my moves. Take your time. Feeling is required, and zack repeat and repeat and repeat, and search the tiny adjustments that your body needs to be comfortable in this sequence. Here we go. And now it's time to make it roll. It is a rolling away trick. So I'm gonna trigger it, rolling away, going over, and trigger the translation. I have no other words to say that you might struggle. I have struggled a lot to keep my dragon staff rolling on this one. Don't be ashamed to help it to do some finger steps, guiding. The idea is to get the sensation. And what helped me and will help you is to move fast. Because here we don't have much time. At some point, as we will see, my dragon staff on my back will roll on this little bit of finger. I don't have 2 seconds, I have 1. So in 1 second, I will have to change from this to this grab and keeping it rolling. It's all about your body needs to know where it goes. This is why the non-rolling repetitions are really important in the way that they will bring you things. They will bring you understanding. Your body will learn. So without rolling, repetitions are very important. And here, I don't have much things to say that keep it rolling. It's a little fight. But it is very pleasant. When I will trigger my move, when I will trigger the translation, the dragon staff is rolling away, and I will go over. For each of these little moves, I want to optimize the surface on my hands that the dragon staff can roll on. So here I'm not gonna begin to be in contact with the middle of my hand. I want to dig with my fingers. This way my dragon has a long distance to roll. Here, fingers. I let my dragon staff roll and trigger the pendulum before it reaches my thumb. Pendulum. And here, because it was a pendulum, my dragon staff will roll towards me, which means in this direction. Rolling away, pendulum, now is rolling in this direction. Started rolling in this direction, pendulum, and it is rolling in this direction. And while the dragon staff will be rolling in this direction before I swapped, it will roll here. 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 And I want the dragon staff to roll until my thumb. And when it reaches my thumb, I'm going to push it a little bit and grab with my other hands, of course, beginning by the end of my fingers. While I'm here, beginning of my fingers, quick translation, pendulum, and this is nearly the last detail. Here, I'm gonna stay like this. I finished my translation, and I'm going here. But here, I want to roll away. So I will do a little toss at the end of my pendulum to land on the beginning of my fingers. Pendulum, toss. And I want the dragon staff to roll away from me. So I want my dragon staff to roll in this hook here. So I want a little toss to land my dragon after the pendulum here, beginning of my fingers. And it will roll on this distance. But during this distance, so this time, I will have time to swap hands and come back to the first translation. And it goes like this. Rolling away, trigger, pendulum, swap, toss, toss. Slow rolling. The slower your dragon staff is rolling, the more time you will have in your maneuvers. Slow motion time. it is a challenging trick. You will have to find some adjustments here. Do you need to toss? Do you need to grab it continuously? Here, which kind of block? This one might be helpful to do the first translation. Here, from my point of view, we are entering the hardcore dragon staff things that will come up in the very near future. Because this year, 2024, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the creation of the dragon staff concept by Mr. Gora. 20 years. 20 years since this concept has been invented. And from my point of view, and regarding other fields, other evolution like skateboard, for example, 20 years is the beginning of maturity. We are beginning to have fun, from my point of view. And that's it for this non-native Transdulum around dragon staff tutorial. I really hope that you will have fun challenging yourself with this move. And let me know if you like this kind of more challenging tutorials, challenging tricks and sequences. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Keep it spinning and have fun. Ciao.